Sonny Bill Williams moved to Toronto was 2 years in the making. The 34-year-old two-time Rugby World Cup champion, serial code switcher and sometimes boxer has confirmed he's signed with the Toronto Wolfpack Super League side, which play in the English Super League competition. The club's director of football, Brian Noble, told sports editor Stephen Hewson SBW was a target for them from the outset.
You contact who you think is going to have some profile in North America. You know, he wasn't the only man on the list, but I have to say he was the number one preference from day one a couple of years ago when we were speaking to the ownership group. Should we reach the hallowed turf of Super League, which we did last year, it was important that we, for our fans in Toronto and North America, that we brought what we perceive to be the best non-rugby player on the planet. I think we've done that. I think it's an unbelievable coup.
At 34, though, he's knocking on in terms of years when it comes to a player at that level.
No.
And he's had a few injuries the last couple of years. Are you concerned?
Yeah. I'm no more concerned than you are with any. When you look at the game of rugby worldwide, and particularly league, it's a high, fast, highly skilled, high collision sport. And anybody can get injured out there. But at some stage, you have to balance that out with who would make the biggest impact in relation to our newness, if you like, in the Super League, and what name would. Clearly he's there for his playing purposes. Clearly he wants that to be his major contribution, as we do. But then you run that risk with any player. You can stick a 19-year-old in there and he's likely to get injured the way that the game's manufactured now. You can't make decisions on the back of thinking that somebody might get injured. You make decisions on the back of his great profile. He's a great fella. The humility he has with different people and what he brings off the field as well as on the field is clearly a criteria we've looked at.
Where do you see him playing? In the centres or back in the forwards as he has done in the NRL?
Yeah, I personally would think he'd be on an edge somewhere, whether that be in the centres or in the back row. I think, one of the great questions he's been asking as well is, I need to slightly change the way I approach my fitness. So he's clearly on top of his game in relation to where he thinks he wants to play, and his deliberations with the coach in Japan clearly leads me to believe that he understands and the coach understands the role he can play. So, yeah, it's a long answer to your short question, Steve, but probably back row with the ability to play in the centre.
And does he get to continue boxing?
Well, I'm not going to fight him. He can fight whoever he wants, but I haven't spoken to him about boxing, but I certainly won't be on his fight list.
But you would be comfortable if he kept or had the occasional bout?
It has to be in the parameters of what we've invested heavily in what he does and what he doesn't do for us. But I'm not seeing any distractions as to why he couldn't. But clearly, it's not one of the in-depth conversations we've had.
$10 million is a lot of money for 2 years. Is that what it's worth?
That's what they're saying. Steve. So it's certainly a great deal, and it's probably the biggest deal that the Super League in the Northern Hemisphere has offered anybody. We think we'll get value for money.
You've talked about, obviously, the profile, and I mean, similarities have been made to David Beckham going to the LA Galaxy. But does Sonny Bill Williams have that cachet? I mean, how well known is he in Canada? I would have thought not.
There is a lot of rugby in Canada, league and union, and a lot of money's been spent over the years trying to get the game going over there. The fact that we have 13,000 fans already in year 3 of our existence, they like our form of the game, league. It's easy to understand, if you like. I think they consider it a cross between MMA and NFL, and so they get the rules, they get the 5 drives, and they get the handover principle, so they see the ball a lot. I think they love the excitement, they love the fact that he can play all of the time. Does he have the profile? Well, from our reaction from prior to this interview, I was doing a long interview with TV crews and news corps in Canada, so they certainly embrace it in Toronto. It's the 4th biggest city in North America, and it's funny that you mentioned David Beckham and LA Galaxy. The MLS, the football concepts over there in North America, are the 2 biggest decisions to promote their game and the success that they've had. I think it's up to $300 million now. You could pay for a franchise over there. It's the signing of David Beckham and, interestingly, allowing Toronto into the MLS. Were the 2 biggest decisions that their chief executive said that they've made. So I'm confident that he has that kind of impact in North America, and I'm confident that it's going to be. It's already been worldwide news, as you're quite aware. and he's already rocking it.
Toronto Wolfpack's Director of Football, Brian Noble, talking to sports editor Stephen Hewson.